the advertisement. Yep.
Was that Carl Thomas?
Let go.
Yes.
To you.
I'm trying to tell you because.
But anyway, for all those y'all listen, What Is Love, the official soundtrack is out. It dropped as of February 14th. Go ahead and check it out. It is my latest project. It's actually my favorite project so far. So, but this time my show. So, hi.
I mean, you're the producer and all. He came in with his own hellos and everything. So I'm gonna just jump right in as well. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is your girl. It is I, working out with Wanda, and we are here. We're in a part 2 of this wonderful conversation of releasing emotions, of how to properly release, and we want to do it in a healthy way. Our last segment, we were talking about understanding about emotions, and
Right.
he was giving great analogy of how this is like a slap on the face when you say that we're emotional hoarders.
Mhm.
Like, okay, if I'm thinking about hoarders, whether it's my clients or what I've seen on TV, it's a very claustrophobic feeling. It's a very claustrophobic when you're trying to tunnel through something that is not. If we really be transparent, doing research, hoarders are people that suffer from mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And so because they're suffering from mental health, they decide to build these walls.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're building these walls, in them, we're safe. But those of us on the outside looking in, this is very claustrophobic. This is very, this is dangerous. You are covering up fire hazard areas. This can be a fire safety. Like, there's a lot of things that we're seeing on the outside looking in. And when you left off, you talked about us releasing our emotions in a healthy way.
Right.
And I said, well, we need to talk about what is the positive and negative ways, because a lot of times we don't even know what we're doing.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. So anybody knows a negative way is if you're expressing your emotions and somebody on the other side of it is getting hurt.
Yeah.
That's probably the simplest way to describe a negative way of expressing your emotions. Oftentimes you can have people who you could be mad about your job, but you're lashing out on the kids. Your current boyfriend is feeling the effects of the pain from the last relationship, and they didn't do nothing wrong. They just happen to put on a shirt color that matched something of the person you couldn't stand. You and your mom are not seeing eye to eye, so you're punishing the kids by not allowing them to go see their grandmother. Like, there's a lot of different negative ways, but at the end of the day, a negative way is hurting somebody else or hurting something in the process of trying to get your emotions out. Or I'll even go one further. You can overly love somebody. You could literally overly love someone that you are smothering them with your love and your affection, and that is a negative way of getting it out your system, simply because you don't ever want to experience the kind of love you experienced before, so you try to give it to the new person tenfold. This is how I want to be loved going forward, so I'm going to shower you with as much of my love as possible, and this individual is like, you doing too much.
It's scaring them.
You gotta relax.
What was that cartoon that Looney Tunes out? Was it Elmira? I'm gonna love you and squeeze you and hold you and hold you.
Elmira,
yes. Some people are like that.
Some people are.
And when we talk about the negative release of emotions, yes, some of us, we vomit at others. We spew out poisons to those that don't deserve it. And then let's be honest, a lot of us give us that grace because we'll say, they're grieving.
Right.
I'm going to let them have their moment. But when it becomes 5-10 years later, we as society be like, okay, now I know grandma died 10 years ago, but you can't keep using that as an excuse to keep on coming and targeting me. And maybe something is happening and it comes in a form of a trigger, or it's coming in other form, because that we use that I'm in trauma and I'm triggered. I'm trauma, I'm triggered. I hear that so much in the medical, but I feel like we use it as words that are excuses a lot of times. Not everybody, but a lot of times it's used as an excuse for you to do what you want to do.
Exactly. Like I used to get triggered a lot when it came time to dealing with stuff that reminded me of my physical disciplining childhood.
Okay.
That is the PC way of saying what we all know what it means. But I came up in a very physical disciplinarian childhood, and because of that, certain things would trigger me when it would go back to those moments that would cause me to not necessarily lash out, but more so become a recluse in regards to it, because I knew what the mental effect of it was. And it wasn't until I started realizing, like, that's not happening no more. You know, that's not a control you have anymore. That's not something you can have anymore. But when I was going through the healing process, that I really lashed out at my mom. I look back at my mom and I blame my mom for a lot of stuff. Like, I really do. To this day, there's still a few things that she did that didn't have to happen, or there was things that there was a cause that had an effect to it that I do still blame her for. But at the end of the day, I didn't need to still be punishing her for that. It wasn't her fault for that. She did the best that she could with what she knew at the time. Like, you were the only daughter of a sharecropper who the only form of discipline he ever seen was a physical kind. And it was the same thing he did when it came to my uncle. So I can't expect for her to put me on timeout or to look at things from a logical point of view, or I'm going to take this from you and you're grounded. What is grounding to some people? Like, that's not a word in their life, right? You know, so I couldn't expect for her to use these type of methods when it was never something that was introduced to her. But what I could do is not implement it in my child rearing. Just that control, you know what I'm saying? Like, now it's my turn, and I had to catch myself one time. My youngest, she wasn't necessarily being defiant or anything like that. She was just not understanding. And when it came to listening to her mother, they kind of would be a little bit reluctant to respond to certain things. So it would be occasionally I would give them a whooping. I'll give them a hand. I wasn't going to do the extremes that I grew up with, but a couple of pops on the hand, you know, here and there. And I seen it that when my youngest one day, when I'm telling her to come here and give me her hand, a simple one pop, it's one pop, in the way the fear would be in her eyes, I couldn't do it. And it had nothing to do with, oh, daddies don't want to see their daughter cry. No, I seen me in that moment. Oh, wow. And in that very moment, I was like, never again. Never again. Never again have I ever put my hand on any of them, because I was like, there's a different way. Yeah. And how do I know there's a different way? Because I conveyed it to my mom that there's a different way. So even though I'm doing the same thing you were doing, because I'm feeling like the situation got to an escalated point where a physical discipline was justified, it wasn't. It wasn't necessary for that. It wasn't to the point where you needed to be put in your place in that situation. You just needed a little bit of understanding. So going there Mike just want to move on his own. From going forward, all I had to do was convey to them what they did wrong. Find out if they understood what they did wrong. That's one of the biggest things that a lot of us kids never had, was a voice growing up. Yeah. So a lot of times there were things we as children, not just in my house, but kids in general, just didn't understand why. And a little conversation can clear up so much. Yeah, you still get in trouble for what you did this time, but at least you now understand. You understand why you're in trouble. You're understanding the consequences of your actions. And now you're understanding what could have happened had it not gone the way it did, so you can have a better understanding of what to be worried about next time. To the point that now when I talk to my girls, they do have a better understanding. I don't have to worry about them doing anything. And now I can remove things from them, and it has more of an adverse effect on them, because I spent time and learned my children that I know having the ability to do this over there would have the same mental effect on them as the way that physical discipline would have had on me. or so I thought my mom thought it would have on me. Just remove these items, take away this ability, allow them to not be able to do A, B, C, D. And those had more of an effect. And guess what? They were still able to express their emotions during this moment.
Okay.
They were still able to say to me, but Dad, why am I in trouble? I didn't know I couldn't do this. I was doing this because, or, well, I was curious. Okay. Because a lot of times we did stuff as kids because we were curious.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went in that abandoned house over there that was still being built and played over there because I wanted to see what the inside of a house looked like that didn't have walls. In your mind, you're more so I'm a boy. Okay. I was a boy. But I was also raised by men who use their hands.
Yeah.
So knowing that my uncle is a carpenter, my other uncle fixed on cars, to see them take things apart, that was something that was intriguing to me. So to go inside a house that's being built when ain't nobody building, to my mom, oh my God, you could have did something. You could have did something to this house. You could have hurt yourself. Nobody would have known you. You're physically disciplining me because you were fearful of what could have happened to me.
That's good.
Instead of asking me, why were you over there? What made you? And I could be like, I was just curious about what the house looked like on the inside. Okay, you got a little curiosity. First of all, you in trouble. You grounded. You not going outside for a week because, back then the kid couldn't go outside.
That was over.
That was over.
That was our life.
That was just all you had to tell me was that. Literally, all you had to say was, you can't go outside.
That was it.
I would have been devastated. Like, I got to sit in here with an Encyclopedia Britannica? That's it for a week? Oh, I'm never going to the house ever again. You know, it would have been something that simple, but you chose this physical discipline. So now I'm not learning the lesson. I'm just now fearful. My fear is not to go in this house, not because I can get hurt or cause damage, but my fear is because of what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So if you take that mentality and let's put it on somebody who's not intelligent like me, they may look at it as something completely different.
Right.
And then they grow up and they become very rebellious in regards to this because they never had an opportunity to express their emotion. The only emotion they ever knew was fear. Mm. So had we had that conversation and I told you I'm curious about this house, I can be on punishment for the week with the Encyclopedia Britannica, but in that Britannica, you're making me look at houses. You're making me look at structures. You're making me look at things that justify why these things are important. So now I'm on punishment, but I'm learning because you know what could have happened from that moment?
Yeah.
I could have now been on the path to want to be an architect.
Okay.
But instead, I'm scared to even go anywhere near a house. I don't want to do anything that uses my hands. I don't even want to, you know what? I'm just going to sit on the porch and just be on the porch. I'm now stifling my own growth because of fear that's been taught on me instead of my curiosity being tailored to.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. Because it's like, if I can say this with transparency, and this is not a push down to our parents taught us the way they were either shown
exactly
or what they've learned over the time. And what I'm hearing you say is that now that we're adults and we have children of our own, we can either do the same timeline, the same time frame, and what the generational thing to do with disciplinary actions, or I always say it with my staff, everything deserves a conversation.
It does.
Everything deserves a conversation. So instead of me always wanting to do a physical disciplinary action, let's talk about why. Exactly. I always feel like there's a why behind something. And this allows our emotions to also, in conversations, to be regulated.
Right.
With conversations, and you can tell, if it's getting heated, let's agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. When it's kind of going to the left, you know what? I think we should just end it here because we're not seeing eye to eye. Or let's call a mediator in here because we need to have a heart-to-heart conversation.
Right.
But I've always told even people that I work with or just people in general, it's never good to have a conversation when we're emotional.
Exactly.
Because I feel like that's when we say things emotionally without having facts. Right. We're speaking with feelings, but we're not speaking with facts. So factual evidence.
Or things. We're purposefully talking to hurt.
Yeah.
I have a person who we have had multiple disagreements that have gotten heated. And it took us a while to mature enough to know, like, you know what, this conversation is not going anywhere. Let's end the phone call right now. Originally, when I would feel that way, I would end the call. I wouldn't prep it or nothing like that. I would end the call, which would cause the other situation.
Yeah.
It'll escalate somewhere else. Now, I'm not physically hearing it or paying attention to it. Like, delete the whole message. I ain't got to worry about it. I don't care what you're complaining about. At this moment, I'm not going to talk to you. But when we started like really having to interact with each other and learning each other's communication styles, those type of conversations minimize a lot, because a lot of simple things are, like you're saying, just admitting to agree to disagree, because this is not going nowhere, or we're just saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're not listening to each other. Those moments right there sometimes is when people need to learn to stop.
Yes.
And it took us a while to get there. Like, do we still have a couple of disagreements every once in a while? But it's not something that 5 minutes in each other's corner and coming back, we can't get back on the same page. It's just that sometimes we need to stop and process what the other person is saying to truly understand what the person is saying, you know?
So true.
But that's something that as a whole we got to learn. I want to go back just one step where you said we have the opportunity to either follow what we were previously known to do or learn something different. I think a lot of the situations in society right now, we are just following what our previous generations are doing, because a lot of people have not been taught there are alternatives.
Right.
I often used to hear when, or you may see it when, a video of someone of the non-melanated descent child is acting up in public.
Yeah.
The first thing they say, that kid just needs a whooping. Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
You don't know why that kid is acting out. Now, do that kid needs to be punished? Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Just like somebody needs to sit down.
Most definitely.
Yes. Go. And I'm leaving that in. I'm not taking that out. That's staying in, because you show universally. Now the reason why I said I'm leaving that in, because depending on the parent, it could have went two different ways.
True.
I've seen you have it go two different ways. Okay. But that's not your fault. It's what works best for your parenting situation and in that time. Whereas with me and him, when we talk, I was like, okay, let me hear what you have to say. Because by hearing what you have to say, it stops him from coming back later asking the same things or asking different variations, because he's not understanding why the reaction was different. And I think that's where that learning something new or experiencing something different helps a lot of parents be able to handle different situations. My youngest, I do have to sit there and talk to her and explain to her why things have to be done a certain way. And she will, why does, I just want to do, and I don't like, but Tiana, if you don't do this and this, how do you think you're going to get that? Well, I don't know. Well, why don't you try it this way so you can find out then, instead of not knowing? So literally step by step explaining stuff to her, that's how she learns. Where Alyssa, what you do? Well, I did this. Well, why did you do that? Well, this was that. Okay, so what was the goal for that? Like, I asked her the question to allow her to give me the answers. And by allowing her to give me the answers, then I can come. I'll give you an example. We had a talk the other day. I just randomly was like, hey, Lily, why don't you never want to, participate in these sports or anything? She was like, I don't know. I get tired very quickly. I don't want to do that. I was like, well, you wanted to be a cheerleader last year. Why not? Why don't you want to be a cheerleader no more? Well, I get tired. Well, Lily, you know what you said earlier, because you get tired, that means you should go outside more and, be physical, because, when you're more physical, you don't get tired as much. She's like, oh. Yeah, that makes sense, but I don't want to be tired. Well, Lily, I get that you like to do inside stuff. Right. You know how you sleep all day? Because you're tired? It's because you haven't trained your body to be more energetic. Did you know if your body moves around, it heals itself? That's why you homesick, because your body hasn't healed itself. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, I can start doing more stuff. And literally, that's all it was. But there could have been a household. You get your ass up and get out there, and all you do is sit around all day, and you're just lazy. And it's like, no, they're not lazy. It's just you don't understand why they're not doing what they're doing, especially in households where you call the person lazy and they may really be depressed.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation, though.
I feel like when we have, and I should say, probably shouldn't say feel, I always tell people there's facts over feelings, right?
Right.
There's serious conversations that we have to have because it's affecting your performance, where you're at work, whether you're at home, things of that nature. So I do feel like when we speak about emotions and releasing, it affects every age group.
Right.
You know, we use children as an example. Their understanding, their intellect of how they're conveying our message to them has them express their emotions a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Prime example, some, as what is it? They call it terrible twos, the toddler stages, where it's everything very defiant. It's always a no, 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 no. And then they'll start falling out on the floor and they start crying and they start doing whatever else. Then it seems like when they get into the 5, 6, 7, first, second, third grade stages, it's more of that, the why,
right,
and the I need to understand, or they want to give you their feedback, and as they get older, it's still of the questions why, but their intellect and their mind is so open to understand. But I also feel that the neglect comes in when we don't allow our children to express their emotions as well.
Exactly.
And now we put them in this box that we didn't want to be in.
Right.
Growing up, that we were, you crying, shut up crying. You be like, well, I was trying to get this thing. I should hurt. It hurt.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because, we definitely on my kids now. So
Lord.
This is how you know I'm an active dad, because I got stories. So one of the things that I used to do specifically with my youngest, Tiana, she used to be that person. She used to fall out. She used to cry and really just go crazy when she couldn't have her way. Now, her mom, she wasn't used to that. So she would handle them. She would handle her the same way she would handle her clients. It would be, we're going to the next step no matter what. Okay. My youngest is a very routine child in the morning. She has to follow a certain routine. Everything has to be done in order for her brain to completely wake up. Okay. If you take anything out of step, she's not going to move forward because her brain is going to be stuck on that one problem. Like, she can wake up, I'm cold. Well, come on, we got to get dressed. We got to do this, but I'm cold. Nope. Give her a blanket, wrap herself up. Yes, there may be a full wool blanket in the bathroom, so we can get her in the bathroom, but you have to satisfy the cold issue. Now, if we were anywhere else and any other parents would be looking at it, they'd be looking at like, oh my God, this good child has to know. You understand? I would rather give her a blanket for 2 minutes to go in here to make it to the next step so we can get out this house on time instead of fighting with her till 10 o'clock. Because she's still not going to be able to move forward like that. And her mom used to get super, super frustrated with it. And then she started getting mad at me because I would get up and I'll be like, can you help me get Tiana together? And like that, I can get Tiana moving. And next thing you know, we at the breakfast phase. And we done. Like, now it's just get to the car. Once we make it to the breakfast phase, where her mom would struggle. And she used to be like, I don't like how they just do stuff for you. It's like, no, they don't do stuff for me. I do stuff for them. I look at what their parents and what it takes for them to get ready. So I tell her, this is what you can do to make your mornings easier. And I would literally tell her what to do. I was like, with Tiana, get certain things out the way right away. So put these things in place. So when you get to that moment of trying to get her in the bathroom and past that point, the time you're losing in there, you make it up because all this is already done in regards to it, or even just find out what she's complaining about. Whatever she's complaining about, fix it. Even if it's as simple as something of letting her go into the bathroom with a wool blanket, so be it. And that used to fix it. Another thing with Tiana that you said about the crying part, I could be sitting there and she will fall out crying. And she just be on the floor crying. And I will continue to keep doing what I'm doing, right? Because, of course, they're doing it to get our attention.
Right.
And I look down. I was like, are you done? No. Okay. And I'll just let them keep crying. And That's all I would do. I wouldn't tell them to shut up. I wouldn't tell them to get off their floor, stop acting up. No, I'll let them have their cry moment, and I'll lean back down. Are you done? Yeah. All right, come on, let's go do this now. I just let them get it out. And while they're crying, it's like, by you crying, you're slowing down the time frame of you being able to go do A, B, C, D, because I now have to wait for you to get done to put your shoes on so we can get out of here. So do you want your shoes on so we can get out of here, or do you need to cry some more? I want to cry some more. All right, go right ahead. I'm going to keep playing my game. Like, okay, you missed being able to go see this movie because you decided to cry. These are the consequences to your actions.
Yeah.
So instead of getting mad at you, I look and I let you know the consequences to your actions, but I allow you to express yourself.
Right.
And it got to the point that when she cried, I literally like, you done? Yeah, I'm done. All right, cool. What was you crying for? And then she'll tell me.
And come on, right there. I'll be like,
well, why didn't you just say that?
Yes.
Well, mommy was supposed to do that. Well, why didn't you come tell me? Because I wanted mommy to do it. She had to go. But she said she was. But when it changed, Tiana, why didn't you just tell me? Remember. Or, fun fact, TT, baby, you can do this yourself. And the light bulb turns on in her head. It's connected to the interactions with her and her mom. That's the part she's focused on because it's a mommy and me situation. Yeah. But if it's something I really want, I can go get it myself. And now it changes. Why were you crying? Oh, I was crying because I didn't get this moment with my mother. Okay, call your mom on the way going to work and talk to her on the phone.
Yeah. That
way you can still have that connection moment. She'll talk to you on the phone while she's driving to work. Use your phone for something other than playing Roblox. And these things, you have to change their mindset of how they look at stuff.
Right.
So having this conversation by still allowing them to have their emotions, allow them to look at a situation a little bit differently. So now it's still about that mommy and me time, but the thing that caused it the issue is no longer there.
Mommy's recording right now.
I'm still not taking that out. All this is
give me about 5 minutes, okay?
Yes.
Thank you so much for your patience.
And you see, that could make the biggest difference.
And it's not because I was recording. That's really how I talk to him.
I know. I know you do, because and that's why I'm not cutting that out, because it's tying back into the conversation.
Yeah.
But that makes the biggest difference. Just acknowledging him and letting him know you're giving him a time frame where now you have my attention, that mommy and me time, which is important to him. He now knows he's going to get it. Yeah. So it's easier for him to go where he needs to be at until that 5 minutes is up.
Yes.
Because now the anxiety is not taking over anymore. And I need to definitely speak to her about that. Now it's controlled. It's controlled.
And you know what? I feel like if we can help our generation now, we are bringing more stable, more mentally stable adults for our next generation. We are bringing in more people to utilize communication, to utilize having healthy, emotional conversation, having this moment of saying, I'm not okay. Exactly. And I'm giving you your space. Even though like she were crying and having that moment, you allowed her to have that moment. I think in a society, we need to normalize in a sense of right now they're not in the best space. And we need to realize when we're talking to someone, when they're in the best space and when they're not. There's some people that we really encourage having mental health days.
Yeah. Because
sometimes the type of work that we do, the environment that we're in, sometimes we need to do like self-regulation, self-checks. Let me go ahead and bring this all the way back. Let me focus on some self-care, whatever we need, because it'll affect us and it'll drain us. And something simple, like you said, as our youth, our children, our cousins, and this next generation is coming up. Yes, a lot of them are vocal.
Yes.
But I actually do like having conversations with the young people, because it's like they end up just saying so much, but like, I have somebody that's going to listen. Right. I have somebody that's going to hear me. I have somebody. And then in those moments, we're able to teach them how to regulate emotions, how to regulate your feelings, how to regulate, okay, what is facts from this situation? How could we have controlled this better? How could we have done this better? This helps us as we're maturing into teenage, until adult age on how to properly handle ourselves.
Right.
I think we don't do that enough, sir.
So one thing that I'm loving that this current generation is
Mm-hmm.
doing more of that the previous generations didn't do, and that is therapy.
Yes.
And that's accepting therapy.
Yeah.
And accepting the fact that talking to somebody who is not connected to anything in your everyday life is just as important as talking to your best friend or talking to your mate.
Yes.
And I'm loving that for a lot of people because we were taught, don't let them folks in your business.
Yeah.
Okay.
What goes in our house stays in our house.
Exactly. And sometimes what's in our house needs to be told.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Uncle Jethro in the basement is not supposed to be around the kids. Let's just be honest there.
You're gonna make me open up my bottle on that one.
And therapy has helped a lot of people process that situation and alone.
Yeah.
But just therapy overall. Like the same child that I'm referring to, Tiana, she has a therapist right now. And a lot of people be like, well, why you got your child in therapy? They're kids. They're going to experience stuff. It's like, yes, they are. But I always look at Tiana's situation as a very unique situation.
Mm-hmm.
Tiana is a young child who started her education during the pandemic. Okay. And a lot of people don't look at that effect. Yeah. They don't look at how that affected. To be a kindergartner and being told that you have to do school on a computer.
That's different.
That's different because a lot of us tend to forget those kindergarten years are the core foundation of socialization.
It is.
That's how we have to learn how to interact with each other, how to talk, how to share. It's not just about colors and numbers. It's about that whole beginning social experiment.
Yes.
And you take that away from them in that situation. So for her kindergarten, now she was already thrown a curveball because her birthday falls in November. Okay. So when she turned 6 years old, she couldn't start school with everybody else that was the same age as her.
Yeah.
She literally had to wait a whole entire year. So while the rest of her classmates are starting at 6, she's getting ready to turn 7 in 3 months. Okay. So you already feel like you're behind because you're older than everybody else and it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Ooh.
Not even your fault. So you're already inadequate. Second thing with Tiana was she watched her sister start school in Head Start. So her sister started school at 3 years old. Mm-hmm. You're starting school at 7. You already feel like you're being punished. And not only that, because of the program shifting leaderships, she didn't get a position in. A position she was initially guaranteed that she lost because of a change of leadership.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, she didn't go to the school she wanted to go to.
Ooh, poor baby.
Okay. So my child, before school had ever came into her life, she was already 3 strikes behind. You didn't go to school you wanted to. You didn't go when you were wanted to. And now you have to go a year later because your age. Her whole entire joy of starting school for the very first time was stripped away from her because when you are finally able to go to school, you got to log into a laptop. You got to see all these other kids who don't know what's going on just like you on a computer. She completely checked out from school.
Wow.
And she never checked in afterwards because unfortunately, and this is where me and her mother take accountability at. Unfortunately, she ended up going to a Spanish immersion school because her sister, who was already in school, who was already excelling, who already was learning these languages, wanted to go there and got accepted into there. And, you know, MPS believes in keeping kids together.
Right.
So now you're being accepted into the same school.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand what they're talking about because you're learning language. You're learning on a computer, so you're mentally checked out. Mm-hmm. You're losing your social skills because you never got a chance to interact with anybody that doesn't have your same last name. So my child was already set up for failure before she even began. Ooh. And it wasn't even by going to the poorest school in the city. It's a different kind of setup for failure. Man. You see what I'm saying? So school for her has always been difficult. So her first, second, and third grade years of school, because she was still at Spanish immersion, she completely shut down. She stripped herself of social skills because I don't know what you're saying. Yes, at Spanish immersion, they're teaching you English and Spanish, but they talk Spanish first. So if the first words come out of your mouth, I don't know what you're saying, I'm not hearing the rest of them. I'm not correlating the two together because I
Yeah.
never got an opportunity to really truly grasp what the original language was, because what I should have learned in kindergarten, y'all took it from me by making
Yeah.
it a computer thing. Okay? So we ended up moving her over to a regular all English speaking school.
Right.
Okay? Which was cool for her on the learning side.
Right.
But you had 5 years
Ooh.
of no social skills.
Mm.
So even in moments when she wants to connect with somebody, she doesn't know how. And the kids in her
Yeah.
class wanted to be her. Oh, they want to include her in so much, and they want to be a part of her life.
Right.
And they were so loving and caring, but she didn't know how to receive it because if it's not from us, it
Yeah.
didn't feel safe. It felt foreign. So we allowed her to homeschool this year. Now we allowed her to homeschool because this is what she requested.
Okay.
Okay. She was like, I just want to homeschool. Now, unfortunately, the homeschool experiment, in my opinion, did not play out the way it should have.
Okay.
Only because it wasn't what she thought. She thought the homeschool experience was going to be the mommy and me experiment. And because of the role that her mother had at the job that she was at, it took all of her time. So that means that you are now spending time with grandma, who has the old school level of discipline and the old school level of teaching and the old school level of communication, not what you've grown to be accustomed with mommy and daddy now. So that learning experience has been difficult. Now we got through the first semester, but the second semester has been almost non-existent. But her mom changed schooling. So starting on Monday, that's a completely different story now. So now I think the way homeschooling she's expecting it to be is possibly can be. But I told her, regardless of how we close out this semester, you're going back to regular school because we got to get you socially acclimated again. You have to learn these skills, but during the meantime, you do have a therapist. And her therapist, they are working. There's some days where she, regress, but she still is improving. So therapy works if you let it.
I think that's a great, not even want us to use it as a story, but a great testimonial of the emotions and our next generation and how they're impacted. I totally didn't think about the children that were starting school in COVID. Like my son, he was a senior. So them transitioning to doing everything on the computer, they didn't care. You know what I'm saying? They were seniors.
That's work from home.
Right, exactly.
That's a work from home.
But for someone who was being introduced to a society of this is what social look like, this is how we engage. That is a whole different thing. And I'm so glad that you're introducing her and have her going into therapy. I always say to people, we just need to normalize. I always say normalize Jesus in therapy, because everything is not, we're trying to be preventative. We want to be proactive than reactive.
Every other culture but our culture has no problem with therapy.
But we do.
Because we were taught not to share our stuff with those peoples, because unfortunately our history shows that information weaponized. So now that we're getting to the age where we're 50 years, 60 years removed from civil rights movement, and now we have access to the same thing everybody else does. Now we have to start utilizing those accesses, especially when you got so many programs that are specifically geared towards helping people and whatnot. So I always like to say that my kids are a perfect amalgamation of me. My oldest has everything with my creativity and my brain. My youngest has everything with my emotions and my ingenuity. Okay. So they're both a perfect amalgamation of me. They're the same thing with their mom. They got a lot of stuff between them with their moms as well too. But I look at them and I manage both of them completely differently too. Like I get worried when my oldest likes to be alone by herself all the time, because I know that when I was alone a lot by myself, I had moments of depression that kicks in. So even in those little moments, I come in and I chime in and I'll sit there with her and we'll just have random conversations. And even though the whole thing is, I just want to be by myself, ain't nothing wrong. I'm like, you sure? Like, yeah. But I also want to make sure that she knows that it's okay that if there is something wrong,
Yes.
just come tell me.
Yes.
I'm never gonna not like listen to you. I might give you I even say it too. Do you want the life version or do you want the dad version? Like, I'll allow you to choose the way this answer is going to be told to you. But I'm still going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what you need. So you could come and tell me that you have a boyfriend or you like this girl or you want to be a part of this. And I'm going to be like, okay, so what you like about her? How long you been single? Have you had this conversation with her? Did you tell her how you felt? Is she in the same category as you are in? Like, I'm very, grounded with my kids. I don't never want them to feel like that they can't come to talk to me because I felt I couldn't do that.
Okay.
So I don't never want my kids to be those kids to the point where I allow say anybody can come talk to me. Like, TDR is a safe space, and that's born off the fact that I tried to make my own home a safe space.
I feel you.
So,
I feel you.
And that's how I am with my kids. I can't say you come here in a safe space, but you can't be the same way at home. If you did something wrong, I'd rather you tell me and we can figure out how to make it right than you to do something wrong and keep it from me and I have to find out from somebody else. Because I'm going to be like, no, my girls could never do that and find out you're the ringleader. I never want to be that parent. I never want to be that parent who swears up and down, I got pretty princesses, and I find out that you're the biggest drug dealer in America.
Right. Hello,
because I'm like, you selling drugs and you wasn't putting nothing on the house bills? At least,
okay.
Like, at least help out around the house. Buy your dad a new car. Something. I don't approve of your lifestyle, but this is how we keep you off the radar, But that's just how I am. So when my oldest came out to me and basically in so many words told me she was pansexual, I was like, okay. And the fact that I said okay, I think surprised her more than anything. Because she expected me to not be okay with it because I always talk about her boyfriend. Like, nah, date who you want. Love who you want. Just make sure it's authentic. Don't just like the cut of his jeans. Like everything about him. Like how he makes you feel. Like how she makes you feel. But that's enough about me and my family. Tune into my upcoming podcast I'm probably going to create now called My Life and Kids.
I think that's a nice one. I told somebody 5 minutes, and I know I probably went over.
See, I told you.
Because he came right back over here like,
5 minutes is up.
My baby gonna hold me accountable if he don't do nothing else.
See, this is proof. This is why I'm not cutting none of that out.
This is Bring Your Child to Work Day. So we appreciate Toe for the awesome production. And I appreciate my other special guest, Peyton. Say hi. Oh, now you want to be innocent. I love this. So, exactly. So, I just want to thank you so much, Tone, for giving me so much insight on the emotional piece and how we really need to normalize it in our communities. Thank you, Peyton, for being a pop-up special guest. We appreciate you here.
You definitely helped move the conversation.
Yeah, he shifted us, but I love it. I'm here for it. And lastly, as I always say, guys, you won't give up. You won't give in. You will not abort what has been predestined inside of you. And I come against suicide, okay? Therapy, let's normalize therapy. Even at the young ages that our children are in now, it is okay for us to look and search for therapists that will work with our children. And it may not be the first one. You may not find the first right counselor. You may not find the first right therapist that will mesh with our children or mesh with us. Right. It is okay. But guess what? We are more than what people just label us as. Right. And so let's look beyond what we see right there in front of us. Let's see ourselves in the future. So until next time, everyone, thank you and have a great day.